Good afternoon, 5th graders. My name is Miss Larsen, and I am a student at Iowa State University studying to be a teacher. So today, I'm going to help you learn about numerical expressions. But first, let's start off by reviewing the basic operations of math. Who can tell me what the 4 basic operations of math are? Anyone? Yes, Aaron?
Addition and subtraction.
Anyone else have 2 more that go along with that?
Division.
Yes. There's 3. Anyone else? Yes?
Multiplication.
Good job. So we know that the 4 basic operations are addition, subtracting, multiplication, and dividing, which we all know how to do. So today, we're going to put all those together, and right now we're going to go with the order of operations, and we're going to learn how to create numerical expressions, and eventually, you're going to be able to learn how to solve the numerical expressions. So we're going to start off by reviewing the order of operations. Are these in the right order? No?
No.
Okay, can anyone tell me what the first order of operation is of about these 3? Yes, Hannah?
Parentheses.
Good job. So we have to remember that when we're solving problems, parentheses is the first order of operation that we do. What's the second one?
Multiplying and dividing.
Good job. That's the second step. And anyone else? The last step is?
Adding and subtracting.
Very good. So now that we have an overview of the order of operations, we are going to start looking at how we can use these with numerical expressions. So, has anyone ever heard someone say that they have twice as many Legos as one of their friends? Or have you ever heard your parents talking about how you got 3 times as many Christmas presents as one of your siblings? Well, today we're going to learn how to write these expressions. So, let's begin with a simple one. We're going to talk about apples in this problem. So let's start with 3 names. We are going to use the names Liz, Kevin, and Mariah. So we're going to say Elizabeth, or Liz, has 4 apples. And Kevin is going to have 2 apples. And now we're going to say that Mariah has 3 times as many apples as Kevin and Liz combined. So the sum of Kevin and Liz's apples, Mariah has 3 times that amount. Does anyone have any guesses on how to set up this expression using the order of operations and the information we know? Yes, Aaron?
We need to know how many Liz and Kevin have together.
Very good. So we need to add them together. So that's the start of our first numerical expression. But because we know, like Aaron said, that we have to know the sum before we can get the 3 times, that means we put them in parentheses because that is the first order of operation information. So now that we know that Mariah has 3 times this, what do we do with this 3 times? Yes, Hannah?
Multiply by 3.
Very good. Do we multiply just the 4 by 3, just the 2 by 3, or this whole part?
The whole sum.
Very good. So this is our first numerical expression. Are there any questions? Yes, Haley?
I'm confused as to why the parentheses are just around the 4 and the 2.
Because we know that Mariah has 3 times the sum of Liz and Kevin. So since it's 3 times the sum, that means you have to add this number and this number to get the sum.
And you do that first and then you multiply it?
You do that first because she doesn't have 3 times Kevin's amount, and she doesn't have 3 times Liz's amount. She has 3 times the sum, which means you need to add them together first, which is why we have the parentheses, because that is number 1 in the order of operations.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, great. So now that we have the basics of numerical expressions, we're going to try it together. So everyone please get your pencils and papers ready. And for the first problem, we're going to go through the steps together. If it helps you to write down the names and the quantity of the items on your paper, you can do that, or you can just look up at the board. So here is the first problem. John has 5 marbles. Sophie has 7 marbles. And Jenna has 2 times the sum of John and Sophie's marbles. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to try and write the simple numerical expression on your piece of paper, just like we did with the last problem on the board. Can someone please tell me what the first step is? Yes, Hannah?
You have to find how many John and Sophie have, so you have to add 5 plus 7.
Very good. Do we leave 5 plus 7 like this, or is there one extra step that we need to do?
You put the parentheses so that you know to do it first.
Very good. I like your explanation. Aaron or Haley, do you want to take a try at the next step?
You multiply the sum by 2.
Very good. So we put it out here, here, or in the parentheses?
In front.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions on why we put it in front and why the 5 and 7 are in parentheses? Yes, Hannah?
Why don't you put it behind the numbers?
You can put it behind the numbers, so we can switch it to this. And if that is easier for you to do, so if you like to work left to right, since this is in parentheses, and then you multiply, since that's number 2 on order of operations, you can put it either in the front or the back, just as long as it's not inside this, because this is number 1. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you 2 more problems, which are a little bit trickier to try on your own, on your piece of paper. Okay, and I want you to write them big so you can hold them up. Your final numerical expression should be big enough so I can see it, and that way I can walk around and check to make sure you're understanding it. Okay? So the first problem, I'll read them to you first and then I'll write them for you on the board. The first problem is, Emily has 19 carrots and Lydia has 12. Matthew has 3 times the difference. So this one involves subtraction instead of addition. Does everyone have the first problem written down? Okay, we're going to write down the second one's information real quick, okay? So the second one is Tyler has 12 pieces of candy. Hannah has 6 pieces of candy. And Ellie has half as many as their total sum. So this one involves division. And when you get finished with these two problems, hold your whiteboard or your piece of paper up in the air. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to do it on the board. So can I get a volunteer to tell me what their final numerical expression is? Yes, Erin?
For the first one, it should be 3 times parenthesis 19 minus 12.
Very good. So can someone tell me what the first step of this problem would be if we were to solve it? Yes, Haley?
The parentheses.
Very good. So do we subtract, or do you mean that we have to multiply the parentheses?
Subtract within the parentheses.
Very good. Can I get a volunteer for the second problem, which involved the division? Yes, Hannah?
It'd be 1/2 times 12 plus 6 in parentheses.
Awesome. Did everyone get that? Does everyone understand why this is 1/2 times this? Yes, Haley?
Could you have it divided by 2 instead?
So like that?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yes. Yes, very good. That brings up a good point. So we know that because of the order of operations, we know, and after we've worked with fractions, that multiplying by 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. So these two expressions are the same because you are able to put this divided by 2 under the parentheses expression. You just have to make sure if you write it like this, that you are still doing the parentheses first and not doing 12 divided by 2, because that would be out of the order of operations. Any other questions? Erin, was that your question? Okay. So, awesome job. Now, I'm going to let you work on a worksheet on your own. So I want everyone to take some time to finish the worksheet and raise your hand when you are completed with it, and I will come and pick it up.
What's the date?
Today is March 31st. And if any of you have questions, just raise your hand and I will come around and help you. And we're just writing the numerical expression, so you went a step further and you don't even need to solve it. Wow. Good job. You're a step ahead of everyone.
Thank you.
That's next week's lesson, I think. Thank you, Haley. As everyone's finishing up, does anyone have last-minute questions about the worksheet?
Nope.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Hannah. Wow, looking at these, you guys are pros already.
Yeah.
You guys did an awesome job. It really looks like you're understanding the numerical expressions. I think next week, your teacher has planned to actually solve the numerical expressions. So like Haley is already solving them, which is awesome because then you just put the order of operations into effect and you just know how to do it. Does anyone have any last minute questions?
No.
Well, thank you for letting me teach you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your 5th grade year.